back to Charlie's House Call Auto Repair. Today we're going back up to the 2012 Dodge 1500 for a floppy wheel bearing. Welcome back to Charlie's House Call Auto Repair. So what am I getting myself into today? We've got a 2012 Dodge Ram 1500 Bighorn with a bad wheel bearing. We're going to be replacing this today. Now let's go ahead and get the wheel removed. Swollen lug nut. Boy, are they swollen. Now that we've got the wheel off, got a lug nut on just to hold the rotor secure. First thing we're going to do is loosen up the axle nut in the middle before we start breaking anything down. We need a screwdriver to stuff down in the vents of the rotor. Whoa, see all that movement in that bearing? That was nuts. Okay, well, in any case, let's get you loosening this up. Need something a little bit better than my screwdriver. Now, let's try that screwdriver bit right there, see if it'll either bend it or break it. That's probably going to bend it. Oh, that worked out well. Okay, cool. Okay, let's get this nut all the way off. This thing's probably going to fall apart. I'm going to get the caliper bracket assembly off of this. Oh, that's painful. Now we can get those caliper bracket bolts loose. Get in here and back off the brakes a little bit. Give myself some more room to get this caliper up and off the rotor. Same thing up on the top one. Careful of the brake line. Okay, that should be enough to easily enough remove this. And I'm using a bird feeder hanger hook from Walmart. We're going to unbolt this and hang it up onto this upper suspension. Convenient place to actually hook this thing. You can see where the rotor chewed into the caliper bracket a little bit up there. No harm done, but interesting nonetheless. Calipers out of the way and secure, won't fall down and hurt the hose. Let's get this axle. That's cool, that's good, that moves. That means we can start breaking this thing down. Oh, we have total disintegration. Look at that. There is no bearing left in there at all, which means we probably don't have a wheel speed sensor anymore either. Yeah, camera shifts around it all on you. I apologize. It took a header the other day and I think I broke its neck. But it is what it is. We're going to take some of the rust scale off of the threaded part of the bolts that's exposed so that when we start backing the bolts out, they don't start binding up on us. I wonder if this race will actually come right out of here or not. Almost, but not quite. Alright, now the bolts that we have behind here. Oh, we have more pieces back here too. Another ring, part of a seal. It was metal because it just bent it. Okay, well, I see. Those are probably 17s or 18s. Can't see them. We may actually have to disconnect the knuckle in order to get the axle out. And I think we might actually have to do that. Oh, it reads, nope. Gotta love rust. This makes everything harder. get a deeper well socket. One thing you don't want to have happen right now is for that stud to start turning on you. That would be terrible. Not the end of the world, but not a lot of fun to deal with. Probably going to have just as much difficulty putting this back on. I think we can figure out some tricks to make that a little easier to do. I'm going to leave that. Let it on just a little. Right there, if you pop this thing loose, it doesn't go flying on me. And cast iron knuckles, you normally tap on these. I don't know if I want to do that on aluminum knuckle, but yeah, we'll give it a couple of light taps and see what happens. That was fairly light tapping. That worked. Now I just got to get that loose. Well, that certainly didn't help. Can't get above it. Pickle. Good idea to make sure what you're anchoring on is stable. Get the ABS wire out of this. Try to push it through. There we go. ABS wire is out of there. And what do we need here? Can't tell if that's a torch or an Allen. It's so rusty. Looks like it might be a Torx. These out of the holders just to play it safe. And let's go get the sockets for that. Way too much stuff crammed in small spaces, but it is what it is. Do what it got to do. Torx. Don't believe that's a Torx. Nope. It's too big. It's not good. I think that was it. Just doesn't want to drop in there just yet. That does not work either. Maybe it is a torch. Maybe it is a torch. It feels a lot more solid in there. We got the Torx bolt loose. Little blue thread locker on it. Now, let's see if we can pull off a miracle and get this sensor out of here. Very, 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 very lightly. Gonna grab it with these jaws. Okay, got a little wiggle out of it. A lot of patience, a lot of wiggle. Probably underneath it maybe. Got it out intact. Now let's see if there's anything left to the end of it. Well, pretty skeptical. And it does look like it got chewed. Now close in on that for you. Got a little bit chewed up, but it doesn't look like the plastic was perforated or compromised, so who knows? We'll check it for codes when we're done. Now let's find out what size those other bolts were. fit onto it. So we'll go grab one of my 19s. We'll try getting that apart. And it turns out these are actually 18s on the back side. And they're a little tricky to get at. But they're not too terribly bad. Especially when you can flop the bearing all over the place and get it out of the way. Penetrating oil on them, let them soak a little bit, get them moved a little, soaked a little. Probably going to wire brush the threads a little bit more. Turning out to be a bit challenging, so let's get the knuckle detached. Get the axle out of here. Maybe. Careful with the threads. Oh, she's disintegrated. I don't know how I'm going to get down to that last bolt, but I'll figure it out. Alright. Yep. I'll do what I got to do to fight with these bolts. Get them out. Now that was coming out fairly easily. Yeah, this bearing had roller bearings, angled roller bearings in it, not ball bearings, and they are gone completely, inside and outboard, completely gone. There's nothing left in here. Actually, here's the whole bearing. That isn't really supposed to come out like that. What a mess. There's some carnage. Okay, well, let's get this thing the rest of the way out of here. Actually, at this point I could probably put the impact on it. But won't really fit. And this is just as quick and easy, I guess. Alright. And one more bolt. We're probably going to have to use these bolts to beat this thing out of the hub. Out of the knuckle, but we'll find that out when we get there. One bolt left. That's not going so well. All right. Wow. Bottom ball joint bolt out. Hopefully. Okay, the stud's not turning, that's good. I'm going to re-secure the top for the moment. It's already taking me a lot longer than I anticipated. Now, trick that I use here is thread the nut back on. Point where it starts to get a little stiff. I'm going to leave that right there, and I'm going to take that nut right here off. Maybe. Try to take that one off. And then we'll remove the knuckle completely. I really have to go get a 21mm view, but dang it. Maybe not. Come on, Dauntless. I found out what it is. It's batteries. They're a little old. 4/16 of 2015. You think I got my use out of them? Yeah, you're one of the newer big bad boys. Craftsman. Now we're gonna loosen this one up so I can get it in and out. There we go. Alright, now that's out. That's almost out. Now we gotta reposition the jack underneath this ball joint in order to push up on it. If the jack will still fit under it. Yep, barely. I used a little wedge trick learned a couple of years ago, wedging between the control arm and the knuckle in the socket, jacking it up so that it closes that gap and it pops the joint. So now I can get this nut the rest of the way off. Got to do the top one. Probably now doesn't want to move anymore. Let's see. We got that off. entire knuckle now off. Yeah, I think you guys can probably see why I'm having a hard time with that bolt. The axle was chewing into it right here. Oh, this is going to be fun to get out because the bearing is stretched, the bearing's elongated as well. Boy, this is going to be a lot of fun. I may have to replace the whole knuckle. That's not fun. Now, let's see if we can get this last bolt out of here. Yay. Now the hardest part of all is probably going to be getting this bearing hub out of this knuckle, because right here it's all elongated, it's all stretched out. Same thing right up in here, it's all beat up. So this could be proved to be a lot of fun. Yep, this is going to be a lot of fun. Well, with all the bolts in and then back out about 1/8 of an inch, put the socket right on top of the bolt. It looks like we got a little bit of movement. Yep, that bearing is coming out. Ow. Back this out a little bit more. Alright. Now that all the bolts are all the way out, I got one. I'll go another 1/4 of an inch down. Bolt came back out. That's probably not good. That means it's probably not going to thread in. Afterwards. Now see if we can get this the rest of the way out. There. Ha! That worked easier than I expected. Alright, let's get this cleaned up now. Alright, we're going to take the cleaned up knuckle assembly and the backing plate and the bearing. We're going to reassemble this. Go over here like that. And then the bearing side goes over here like this. Tuck the wire down in here. Alright, so get the wire down and out of the way. Now we're going to take our bolts and we're going to start putting our bolts in from the back side. chewed up bolt back in where it was. Actually, you have 2 chewed up bolts on the bottom here. I think this one was chewed up the most. It wasn't there. And then this one wasn't here. And we'll grab the impact. I'll spin these down in. About 5 or 6 ugga-duggas on those. Just because I don't trust ugga-duggas alone. Snug that up once we get it secured. I'll take this. I have to wire around this for the time being. I'm going to take this whole assembly, slide it up underneath the ball joint and the axle at the same time. Okay, maybe the axle first, and then the ball joint. Nope, that doesn't work. Got to get the ball joint first, and then the axle. All right. Now that that's in place, we'll put the big nut on the bottom a little bit, just to keep it from falling down. And we'll do the same thing on the top if we can. Maybe not. All right. So we'll get the jack underneath here, get this thing up in the air. Tie rod end. Sway bar link. There. This was the one that I made sure I could spin it on and off. Where's the 19 go? 21. Tight. Go ahead and jack the suspension way back up again. lost. Second. That one tightened up. Well, this is where a partner or helper would be pretty handy. It's trickier because I'm not used to the deep well at the moment. Top's done. Tie rod end. Let's see. That's for the mower. Tore another glove. Good job, Harbor Freight. Let's go get another one. Now we'll spin the axle nut back on. We're not going to torque it just yet. We're just going to spin it back on. The only thing we have left to tighten up here is this one on the bottom, and I think putting the knuckle under load will be the best way to do this. So what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to put the jack right underneath this. That's probably got more than high enough. I can get right underneath here, and I can tighten this one up now. Now, get the rotor. Where is the rotor? Right here. It's not terribly ground up. Put the caliper bracket back in, caliper and bracket back in place now. That wire out of the way, or it gets itself broken. I hate road salt. Okay, we're far enough up off the jack stand that we can put the tire on it. You know what I didn't do? I didn't torque that axle nut yet. You know, as you guys can see, there's probably a lot of editing in here because there were a lot of errors, a lot of problems. I had to fix the brakes. I broke the ABS wire, so that's going to be something else I got to take care of. But, yeah, let's get this super heavy back up on here. This wheel done. And then I am so done with this one. I keep losing everything, misplacing everything, not being able to find anything. I'm just annoyed. All started off with swollen nuts. Pushing up against my jack isn't very good either. What a day I'm having. What a day I'm having. All right. Yep, definitely having a day here. Jack's losing its oomph. Jack's going out. Well, even though this one didn't go smoothly or as planned, I hope you guys found something useful or helpful out of this. Please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell for upcoming videos. And most importantly, please remember, you've got no more excuses. Pick up those wrenches. Catch you on the next one. Not high enough. You stinker. Alright. That's because I'm not pushing up on anything. That's just dumb. Alright, well, let's try again. Red lock all the way out. Now it's out. Come on. I hate swollen nuts.